Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a really fascinating and honestly highly anticipated astrological event heading our way, the 2026 transit of Mars in Leo. Now, whether you just casually check your horoscope over morning coffee or you're deeply invested in astrological cycles, this specific cosmic shift is one you are absolutely going to want to understand. We're going to decode exactly what this fiery ambition actually means, how it's going to inject a massive surge of energy into your daily life, and most importantly, how you can prep to harness the whole shebang. So, the source material we're looking at today maps out exactly 10 specific predictions for this 2026 period. But listen, instead of just reading you a dry textbook list of those 10 points, because nobody wants that, we're going to organize them into a clear, strategic roadmap. The goal here is to show you exactly how these predictions group together to actually impact your career, your relationships, and your personal growth. Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our agenda. We'll kick things off with a fiery cosmic combination, then move into surging ambition and career moves, followed by passion, creativity, and vitality. After that, we'll hit the warnings in managing ego and clashes, before wrapping up by revealing the ultimate transit winners. All right, Section 1. A fiery cosmic combination. According to our sources, when Mars enters Leo, it creates a highly specific energetic signature. We can basically define this transit as a period characterized by bold action, a sudden influx of leadership opportunities, and deeply heightened ambition. I mean, it's essentially a giant cosmic green light for forward momentum. You're not just, quietly thinking about your goals during this transit, you're actively and probably quite loudly pursuing them.
And this brilliantly illustrates why it's such a big deal when we consider the two forces at play. On one hand, you've got Mars, or Mongol in Vedic astrology. Mars is just raw, kinetic energy, right? It represents action, courage, competition, ambition. It's all about taking the initiative. On the other side of the ring, we have the sign of Leo, or Simha. Leo is ruled by the sun itself, and it's all about leadership, authority, deep-seated confidence, and unapologetic self-expression. So when you combine the relentless drive of Mars with that authoritative, sun-ruled stage of Leo, you get an incredibly fiery spark. It's literally the planet of doing crashing right into the sign of leading.
Moving right along to Section 2, surging ambition and career moves. So our first batch of predictions from the source material centers entirely on your professional drive. During this 2026 transit, you can expect a massive surge in leadership ambitions. A lot of people are going to feel this undeniable itch to just stop playing the background and finally take charge. We're talking about pursuing that promotion or stepping into highly visible roles. And alongside this, your confidence is predicted to reach completely new highs. Mars in Leo kind of just strips away that pesky self-doubt, cranking up your courage so much that you might find yourself totally willing to take risks on goals that honestly previously felt entirely intimidating. And because of this newfound bravery, the sources predict a really significant increase in entrepreneurial activity, favoring the launch of new ventures and personal brands. But here is the absolute key to navigating this professional surge successfully. The sources make this crystal clear. Recognition during this transit comes exclusively through bold action. This is absolutely not the time to sit quietly at your desk just hoping someone happens to notice your hard work. You've got to take the initiative. By actively creating opportunities rather than passively waiting around for them to be handed to you, you align perfectly with that Mars-Leo energy. And that makes it so much more likely you'll attract the attention and public recognition you're aiming for. To really cement this idea, let's break down how this plays out in specific arenas. In highly driven fields like sports and politics, the competitive energy intensifies significantly. Everyone is trying to stand out and prove themselves. In business, like we just touched on, the environment heavily favors launching leadership-driven ventures. But I want you to pay special attention to creative industries. Because Leo specifically governs creativity, entertainment, and self-expression, artists, performers, and influencers are predicted to experience massively heightened visibility. So if your career involves putting yourself out there in any way, 2026 is mathematically primed for you to shine. Let's move to Section 3 and see how this builds into our personal lives, passion, creativity, and vitality. Because, hey, it's not all just work and ambition. Leo is profoundly associated with romance. And when fiery Mars enters this domain, relationships are predicted to become remarkably more expressive. We are talking high drama, deep passion, and a real desire for attention-seeking grand gestures in love. It's kind of that time when people won't just want a nice quiet dinner, they'll want like a flash mob proposal.
And right alongside all that romantic passion comes a major boost in physical vitality. See, Mars is the planet that governs athleticism. The source material notes that during this transit, a lot of people will feel this sudden, highly motivated urge to improve their fitness, maybe compete in sports, or finally tackle those ambitious health goals. That raw kinetic energy of Mars needs a physical outlet, right? So hitting the gym or the track is a pretty perfect way to channel it.
Now for the warnings. Section 4. Managing Ego and Clashes.
The sources are very clear about the potential downsides of such raw, authoritative energy. I mean, think about it. When everyone is feeling super confident and driven to lead, authority conflicts naturally become significantly more common. The predictions explicitly outline increased clashes between strong personalities. This could manifest as disputes with your boss at work, tensions with community leaders, or even conflicts involving parents or government figures. We're impartially reporting the data here. When Mars and Leo combine, the friction between competing egos is a very real possibility that you need to be aware of.
So the crucial point is captured perfectly in this quote from the source. The biggest lesson of this transit is distinguishing confidence from arrogance. It's a really fine line. True confidence, fueled by the sun-ruled Leo, lifts everyone up. Arrogance, on the other hand, driven by an unmanaged Martian desire to just win at all costs, creates those exact nasty clashes we just discussed.
Now, with all of this dynamic, passionate, and potentially volatile energy swirling around in 2026, it naturally raises a massive question. Who exactly is going to feel this the most? Which individuals are cosmically wired to take the greatest advantage of this specific transit?
Well, let's reveal that in Section 5, the ultimate transit winners. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how logical it is when you look at who benefits the most. It's the fire signs. Astrologers fully expect the strongest, most beneficial effects to be felt right here. If you have significant placements in Leo, Aries, or Sagittarius, you are basically considered a primary winner of this transit. Why? Because these fire signs naturally resonate with that Mars-Leo energy. You guys already speak the language of bold action and confident self-expression. For you, this transit doesn't feel disruptive. It feels like an incredible amplifier to your natural way of being.
As we wrap up this explainer on the 2026 Mars in Leo transit, I want to leave you with a thought directly inspired by the ultimate lesson of our source material. We know the ambition is coming, we know the energy is going to be off the charts. But the sources reveal that success will ultimately come most easily to those who lead with a big heart. So as you prepare for this fiery cosmic shift, ask yourself, when you are finally handed the spotlight, will you lead with generosity or will you fall into pride? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.